Hey everyone, let's make two of my most favorite Malaysian kuih or desserts. The first one is Seri Muka, a sweet and salty two-tone cake with a Pandan Custard top and a sticky glutinous rice base. And the next one is Kuih Bakar Pandan, a flower-shaped cake that's ultra-rich with a crispy caramelized crust topped with fragrant sesame seeds. Perfect with a cup of tea. Let's start cooking. Here's a bowl of glutinous rice. We're going to cover it with water and let it soak for 2 hours. Once it's been soaked, we're going to drain the water and place the rice in a heat-proof bowl. To this bowl, we're going to pour in some coconut milk, some castor sugar, and some salt. This may seem like a lot of salt, but it's going to perfectly complement the sweet pandan custard top. Stir everything together so all the ingredients get to know each other. Then we're going to add a knot of pandan leaf into the rice mix. We're going to bury it so it's right in the middle of the action. Now we're going to steam this for 30 minutes. In the meantime, let's prepare our pandan custard. First, we need to make some pandan juice. Roughly cut pandan leaves and add it to a blender. To this, we're going to add half a teaspoon of fennel powder and a tiny piece of cinnamon. This is going to give the custard a hint of spice without overpowering the flavors of the pandan. Sometimes fresh pandan leaves have a slightly grassy note, so we're adding a touch of vanilla to round out the flavor and give it more fragrance. Blend this really well, and then we're going to strain it through a muslin bag. You can also use a coffee or a tea sock. Squeeze as much of the liquid out as possible. As always, all the ingredients with the exact measurements will be listed in the description box below. To a clean blender, we're adding some castor sugar. Let's also add some flour, cornstarch, and a pinch of salt. Now let's pour in some coconut cream. We're also going to add a few drops of green coloring to enhance the color of the custard. You can totally skip this step if you want though. We're also going to add our pandan juice. Blend everything until the batter is super smooth and then set it aside. Let's get our sticky rice out of the steamer. With the fork, we're going to fluff up the rice and then remove the knot of pandan. Prepare a square or rectangle baking tin. We're going to line it with parchment paper with a bit of an overhang so it's easier to take the Seri Muka out later. With the pastry brush lightly dipped in oil, we're going to grease the tin. Let's also grease a plastic spatula. Scoop all the rice into the tin. Then we're going to compress and flatten it down to an even layer. Press it all the way to the edges so we get a nice clean edge. Then we're going to carefully pour the pandan custard mix over the top of the sticky rice. We're now going to steam this for 1 hour. Once it's cooked, we're going to allow it to cool completely. Once the Seri Muka is completely cooled, we're going to lift it out of the tin. Look at that custard layer. It's just set. It's going to be so creamy and soft. I like to cut mine at an angle, but you can cut yours in any way that you like. It's actually easier to cut with a plastic knife. Arrange it beautifully on a nice plate or tray. I'm going to add tiny little pandan birds as decor on the top. It's not edible though, but looks so pretty. Let's give it a taste now. It's so soft yet chewy at the same time. The saltiness of the sticky rice really complements that sweet, creamy pandan custard. It's so good. Let's move on to the next dessert. Just like the first recipe, we're going to roughly cut some pandan leaves and blend with some water to make pandan juice. Then we're going to strain it and squeeze it over a bowl. To this bowl, we're going to add some coconut cream. I'm going to add a couple of drops of green coloring here. Look how pretty! And then we're going to pour it into a bowl with the pandan juice. Add some oil and give it a quick whisk to combine. Now let's get the dry ingredients ready. This is all-purpose flour that I've sifted. We're going to add it into a bowl along with some sugar. Whisk this to break up any lumps of sugar. We're going to spoon the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients in small amounts, whisking in between. This is to make sure we have the smoothest batter with no lumps. Let's not forget to add a pinch of salt. This is a traditional Kuih Bakar mold in the shape of a Kamboja flower or frangipani. If you don't have a mold like this, you can just use a regular cake tin. To get a really nice crispy crust on the Kuih Bakar, we're going to pour some oil in here and heat this directly on the stove. With a pastry brush, we're going to grease the edges of the mold and the top really well. Once the mold is heated, we're going to sprinkle in a generous amount of sesame seeds to cover the entire bottom of the mold. I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. We're going to let the sesame seeds toast gently until it starts to turn a bit golden. Then turn off the heat. With a ladle, we're going to carefully pour a few drops of batter over the top of the sesame seeds to form a layer. If we pour the entire thing in, the force of the batter will push the sesame seeds and oil away, so your kuih bakar will stick to the bottom. Keep on ladling the batter until it reaches the top. Then we're going to sprinkle more sesame seeds to cover the surface of the kuih bakar. Now we're going to bake it in a preheated oven at 175 degrees Celsius for 45 to 50 minutes. We want the top to be golden and toasty. Once it's cooked, just like the Seri Muka, we're going to let it cool completely before we try to unmold the kuih bakar. With an offset spatula, we're going to gently push it around the edges of the mold to release it. Then we're going to carefully lift it out. Cut it into individual petals or leave them as hearts. Let's arrange them on here. How pretty is this plate? All of my plates and bowls are handmade locally in Langkawi where I live by Ilham Ceramics. I'll put a link in the description box below if you're interested to find out more about their work. And oh, if you mention the Kampung Vegan, you'll get a 10% discount on any purchase you make. Did you hear that crunch? I'm not sure if you can hear it, but that's a sign of a really good kuih bakar. It's got a proper crust on the outside. The inside is so rich and creamy, and that sesame seed layer just brings some extra crunch and fragrance. Yum. Which kuih is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. For more recipes just like this one, don't forget to check out some of the other videos that I've made right here. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I'll see you in the next one.